Hello, parents. Welcome to Mr. Charlton's video for open house for 2021. This is for the biology class. Um, we will be holding this session in person during the open house time, but if you're unable to make it to the open house time, I wanted to provide this video to you so that you could know how my class runs and what is expected of your son or daughter inside my class. My contact information is listed right here on the front screen. If you ever need to get a hold of me or you have questions about the class, please reach out to my cell. Texting is probably the best to get a hold of me quickly at 619-971-4746. You can email me at robert.charlton@sweetwaterschools.org. Or you can send me Jupyter messages through the Jupyter account that you have to check your students' grades. That works as well. Okay. So the biology class that your son or daughter are in is basically got two goals. Our long-term goal is basically to get students interested in science, maybe into the fact where they actually would be interested in pursuing a career in the scientific field one way, shape, or another. But of course, not everybody's going to do that. So the science that we provide with biology class is trying to get them to understand about their body, about their role in the environment, about genetics, about the history of their family and lineage related to the biology of it, and just kind of just general things related to how the body works and reacts to its environment. The short-term goal is that typically students take biology during the 9th grade year, and then they will go into chemistry their 10th grade year. For those students in AVID, you'll be going into honors chemistry with me next year. But not all students will stay with me. Some students will go to a different chemistry teacher as a 10th grader. I do know that some of our students right now have had chemistry before, but that's typically how it kind of goes: biology first and then chemistry after that. So we want to get you prepared for not just this year, but also for the years to come. Like we said, the things that they're going to be learning, this is an introductory course. I don't think this should be the last biology course they ever take in their life, although I know sometimes it works out that way. So we're going to introduce a whole bunch of topics about how the body works, responds to things in the environment, how we as an organism are part of the environment and how we contribute to it. Evolution is a big topic that we hit in the second semester towards the end of the year. The first semester, we'll be talking about climate change. What is the causes of climate change? What are the effects of climate change? And what are some possible solutions to reverse the effects of climate change? We'll talk about DNA, we'll talk about genetics, and how things are passed on generation to generation as well. So lots of different topics that cover kind of a wide range where we touch on each thing a little bit. But again, they should take a biology course later on in life that goes into these topics in a lot more detail. All right, so what's expected of your student? So we are doing a notebook for biology class. That notebook is super, super important because it has all of our notes, all of our information. If we ever run a lab, it's got all the information. We keep track of our grades in there. It's got a lot of the assignments that we do will be in there. And every unit, I will collect that notebook and grade it right before we take a test. So your students definitely need to keep track of that notebook. But the thing that I want to emphasize is this is not a class that's about how much work you did. Students will say, well, I did that assignment. Okay, but just because you do it doesn't mean you understood it or you did it well. So we're trying to change their mindset to be more of, what am I getting out of this? Do I understand what I'm supposed to get? Not just, I got it done and I'm done with it. No, that's just not going to work. So the grades that they get for this class are very much based off of, do you understand what you're doing? The best thing that they can do is be at school every day. Typically, the students who have failed my class in the past, it's not because they're not there working, it's just because they're not there. I can't get them to school. I can help them once they're there. I can work with them. I can try and do a whole bunch of things to make the learning easier for them. But if they're not there, I just can't do anything about that. They have to get to school somehow. So if you can help me with that, that would be fantastic. Because usually if students are at school in class, they're learning and they'll do just fine in the class. Okay. And then, when they are there, if they're not, distracted, if they're actually trying to do each assignment, listening to what we're all talking about, doing the best they can, again, usually they're very successful in the class. So students come to school, bring your notebook and do your best. Again, these are just common things, but they actually are true. That's what helps students do well in school. In about 3 weeks, you're going to see a first progress report from these students. Now, typically what I see happen in years past is because the way my class kind of moves and how quickly it moves, and people aren't used to how quickly we move and all the stuff we cover and the expectations I put on them. A lot of times on the first progress report, especially with ninth graders, you will see a dip in their grades. So they may have been an A student or a B student in eighth grade, and all of a sudden they're getting C's, maybe even a D, sometimes even all the way down to an F in their biology class on the first progress report. And you might be like, oh my gosh, what is going on? This is them learning that what they were doing before isn't going to be working anymore. And so they have to adjust. And so hopefully they see those lowered grades, and typically they do start to make the adjustments. And so even though they dropped in grades initially, as we move through the rest of the semester, they tend to come up to back to a normal level, probably by around November or December. That's what I've seen in the past. Now, it doesn't have to be that way, but that's what I've seen. Because there's deadlines now. You can't just do the assignments whenever you feel like it. There are deadlines. You need to get things in by. I need you to learn the information and pass tests, not just give it your best try, but actually make sure you understand things. So again, these are a lot of changes for the students. And coming out of a pandemic year where they were doing digital learning, I could really see that being a challenge for them. So far, the class has been doing well, but we're just starting to get into the real tough stuff of learning and tests and quizzes. So we'll see if the grades hold up or not. Okay, but I tell that to the parents, because I know the first time you get that progress report, you're thinking, oh man, what happened to the grades? It's usually an adjustment period in the first couple months of the class. Okay. And again, if you have questions about that, please reach out to me at any time. So when they are making those adjustments, when they need to start bringing their grades up, how do they get that help? How do they get the extra support? So I have something in class, it's called SMI time. It's like about the last 20 minutes of class where they can get caught up on notes, get any assignments that they might have missed if they were absent, ask me any kinds of questions if they're stuck on anything, get help from me, get help from a tutor, get help from another student in class. That's all in class. So just by coming to class, they're doing that. In addition to that, they can come at lunch. My room is open during lunch. They can ask for help then. I will be after school Monday through Thursday, starting in about 2 weeks. So they can come after school and get help if they need help with that as well. I can even be available before school if they need me to. Just got to let me know. I take pictures of all of our notes and put them in an online notebook. I have a master notebook that they can access with all the things that we've learned in class if they were absent. So there really is no excuse to say, I didn't get it. Like if they're putting in the effort to try and figure out what they missed, they have plenty of access to it. Again, the student who typically fails the course is the one who just kind of comes to school after missing a day and doesn't even ask, what did we do? Doesn't try to get caught up or anything. They're just kind of there. That just isn't going to work. They're really going to need to own it and take responsibility for it. So, but they have many opportunities to get help from me for sure. The support you can do at home. So here's the thing. Most of you probably are starting to realize that, as we're getting into high school now, the level of work as a parent, it's not you don't know the answers to things that they're doing anymore. I'm a parent myself, and, now my son is starting to get into those higher level classes. So it's harder to say, oh, here's the answer. Let me just show you how to do this, because it's not basic stuff anymore. So I don't expect at home that you are going to help them with biology work. I don't need you to teach them biology. I don't need you to tutor them. I don't need you to provide tutors for them. I'm here. I'm willing to help and give them support. The only thing I need from the folks at home is the first thing they're going to need is time. Um, I think the students, this is a two-way street. I ask for parents to give the students at least an hour each night where they're not responsible for any chores or taking care of little brothers or sisters or working a job or cleaning around the house. Just 1 hour, if you can provide that, would be great. Because then if they do have any work that night, I can know that they had that hour to work on that stuff. So that would be a big help if you're able to provide that for them. That would be great. And then just positive support, when they get down, when they think it's too hard, just positive, say, nah, you can do this. Why don't you reach out to Mr. Charlton, send him a text, email him, talk to him in class. That kind of support really does mean a lot for our students. So if you can support them that way, that would be great too. And then the other thing is, if you have the ability to check their grades from time to time, see if they're missing any assignments. And if you have questions, you can shoot me a Jupiter message and say, hey, Mr. Charlton, I noticed my son or daughter is missing this assignment. Can you explain that? Or their grade is dropped. Can you explain that? I have no problem responding to those kinds of requests. So if you have the ability to kind of check in, not all the time, but I'd say about once every 2 or 3 weeks, just to make sure they're on track, that would be helpful too. But again, it's not your job to teach them biology. That's my job. And so that's kind of the biology class in a nutshell. Again, there's a lot more to it. I would say the one big thing is, again, the quizzes and the notebook. Those count for 70% of the grade together. That's huge. So if they're coming to class, they're taking notes, they're studying, and they're doing the best they can on the tests, they shouldn't have a problem passing this course. And then the better they're at it, the better the grade will be. So again, if you have any questions about anything I've said here, or anything else for the class, there's my cell number, there's my email, and again, you can send me stuff on Jupiter as well. Okay. Hopefully I'll see you at open house Thursday night, starting at 5:30 with period 1. I sent a flyer home. It looks like this. So ask your son or daughter about this flyer, because I gave it to them in class the last 2 days. And it has the information for the Zoom meeting and for the link and the meeting ID number with the password. And I'm going to send it on the Jupiter message as well. So if you see this video, you should have gotten a Jupiter message from me. Okay. I will see you all then. Thank you very much. And again, reach out if you have any kind of questions or need anything from me. Thank you.